This video is going to be all about how we can skyrocket your SaaS website conversion rates with the hope that we can potentially 2 or even 3x the conversion rates you're getting. We're of course also going to discuss why your website sucks and why it's not generating anything. We're going to break this down into 2 different ways. The first one is going to be very theory based. So we're going to run through, what makes the user tick. What are they there to see? The 5-second rule. We're going to be running through how to build credibility and of course something called KISS, which stands for Keep It Simple Stupid. Now the second half of this video is going to be more around real world examples. We're going to be looking at how the big boys in the SaaS space do this. What can we take from that based on this theory and how can we add that into our own site for awesome gains? So let's get going. So let's go theory based. We're going to look at something called the 5-second rule, and as the name would suggest, we have 5 seconds for the user to make the decision if they're going to stay on this site or not. Now 5 seconds doesn't feel like a long time, and it isn't, right? So we need to figure out a way to really get across a couple of key messages. First off is, does this feel credible? Does it feel trustworthy when I first land on the site? Is it immediately obvious what they do? And that needs to be really clear. And is it immediately obvious that they do it for me as a user? Am I the right sort of person? We run a company called Strafe Creative. We're a design agency. If I log onto a website and they're clearly advertising about how they work really, really well with accountants, then that immediately shuts me off. So I need to make sure that I'm coming across and explaining what it is that I do and who I do it for, and does it feel credible and trustworthy? Those are pretty much the main things that we want to do. And I would caveat all of this with, actually turning some people off, in my example about the accountant and design agency, isn't a bad thing, because turning off the wrong people is only going to make it more attractive to the people that you really want. So actually, if you did have a SaaS company that's very much focused on making the lives of accountants easier, then I would really lean into that and make it very clear that that's who you help, rather than saying we work with lots of finance departments. It keeps it a lot more open, which could be seen good in one way, but it makes it harder for that individual 5 seconds to go like, is this for me or not? So that's a really, really key one. Now, from a theory perspective as well, I've spoken about certain things which kind of make sense, but one of the ones was credibility. How do you get that initial feel when we first load on here? And that's a really key one to think about. So one of the things that we need to think about is, it's not just testimonials, but is it reviews that we can have on there? The number of stars that we've got out of 5. Can we show maybe really big stats? So, hey, we've helped X number of thousand clients. We've got this number of people that we've done. If you're just starting out, then we need to look for those big statistics, those big stats that are hidden in that information. So for example, if you had an email system and you've only got one client and they send 50 emails a day, then maybe you can talk a little bit about that. So actually, we spent hundreds of emails in the past X number of days, in the past 2 days. There's definitely a way for you to make small numbers appear larger and therefore more credible. So those are going to be some of the really key things that we need to consider from that point of view. Now the acronym KISS, so Keep It Simple Stupid, is a really, really key one. And this is something that at Strafe we have a little bit of a mantra of, right? Don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it too convoluted. Don't make it too confusing to understand. Keep it really simple when it comes to the content that's on the page. It's almost like just say it as it is. Don't have to make it overly complicated. And you'll see this later on in the video that some of these real world examples that I'm going to show you, they keep the overall content and information super simple to understand, so that the user can very quickly, within this 5 seconds go, do I want this or do I not? Is it for me? Is it not? So keeping it simple is really, really key, and not just from a content point of view. You don't have to make the design overly complicated. Again, you'll see on all the designs I'm going to show you today is they look really nice and there's clearly a lot of thought that's gone into them, but they're not overly engineered. They're not too fussy. There's not too much going on. They're trying to keep it simple so that they're allowing the messaging, allowing the visuals to really breathe and really, really stand out. So those are some of the key things we need to consider. Now the second half of this video is going to be way more focused around these real world examples, and I'm going to add a little bit of theory as we go here. So we're going to switch over and start running through some of these. So the first example we're going to show here is Waxwing. Now you'll see they follow a very traditional style of SaaS website that you may have actually been on. It even feels like the exact same website for lots of different places. And this is because this overall feel really, really works, right? So lots of white negative space I'm not too busy. Product hunt is incredibly popular in this space. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll see that I reference product hunt quite a lot. But they're putting this right near the top of the page. Now, this is a great example of we're immediately building credibility, because anyone that's probably going to come across this sort of SaaS company has probably heard of product hunt. It's very big in the space. So we're immediately building credibility. Now, when I talk about the messaging that they have personalized, detailed, and proven marketing strategies for, and then they cycle this round on a ticker. Now, this is really nice when actually your offering could work for lots of different people. We're doing really clear what the main offering is, detailed proven marketing strategies, and then we're allowing the user to have a look at these individual options and see if any of those resonate with, oh yes, I'm one of those. So that's a really, really nice way of doing it. You'll also see here from a contrast point of view, from a color theory point of view, the main two things that we really want the user to interact with, which is start your free trial or try for free. They're the things that really grab our attention to get us to sign up for straight away. And the likelihood is people are going to watch the demo, and that's completely fine as well. But you'll see this is very much a secondary button. It doesn't really stand out in comparison to this. Now, as I scroll down, there's a little bit of animation here, which is quite nice. We're showcasing what the back end of this system starts to look like. And again, we're going straight into credibility building. So this is what I was mentioning in this theory section, that if no one has heard of you, you need to build that credibility really quickly. We're going to lose people otherwise. And what better way of doing that than having some logos to reference who you're already working with, and also showing things like product hunt to say, number one in AI, number one in marketing, number one in productivity. Those are big tick list things to a potential user who will probably know about this sort of software. I also really like this, that again, it's very clean, basic animations just to show what's going on, and I can click between these different items and it gives me a visual quick indication of how the system works. Again, individual things that we can definitely pull from. As you go down here, you've got a very similar system, but they've just switched it, and that's quite nice because otherwise it could feel very samey on the left hand side if everything ran down one. So it's nice that we flip back and forth, adds a little bit of visual interest as we go. A little bit of repetition there, but that's not too much of an issue. And here's another thing that I really like, that a lot of systems will avoid these direct comparisons because they worry that everyone will just start looking and Googling, oh, look at Jira and I'll quickly look at Monday before I look at this. What's really nice is we're trying to kind of prove that our system is better than everyone else's. What better way of doing that if you're confident enough in your own product to say, these are the people we're going up against, and this is why our system is better. I don't see a problem with a little bit of confidence. It's a nice way of doing it. Yes, we might lose a couple of people because they might start looking at some of these other ones, but the amount of credibility we're going to build because of this, the amount of confidence that it shows that we have in this individual product is a really, really nice way of doing it. As we go down, we've obviously got our pricing, and I've referenced this in some other videos, but we've got just some indications, and really they appear anyway from this point of view, from a color theory point of view, to really want to push people to enterprise. I do think that's probably a slight mistake, but maybe that is what's best for them. And again, lots of credibility building that's going on here, showing the testimonials. I know I've referenced this in other videos, I'm going to reference it again, but highlighting the individual stars, highlighting the testimonials is a great way of doing it. And then for me, we should always have a photo, full name, job title, and company, because I might not know the name, but I might recognize the face. Vice versa, I might not know the face, but I know the name. If I don't know either of those, it's really nice to associate the testimonial with the sort of role that I have, to say, oh, like I'm a CEO, or I'm a growth officer, or I'm a growth hacker. And this other growth hacker is already saying this as well, which is great to see. And then the last one is just knowing the overall company. Is if you can't relate to the job title, oh, the fact that I've heard of referral candy makes me trust this system more. So it's a really, really nice way of doing it. So those are going to be some of the key things that I would say from here, and you can hopefully start to see how they tie in with the theory that was at the start of this video. If you aren't building enough credibility, if we aren't immediately getting that messaging super, super clear, then we're going to lose people really, really quickly. Probably no different to this video, right? If you don't like the first 20-30 seconds of this video, you're not going to carry on watching it. It's the same approach that we're taking here. You've got to hook them really quickly. That's the best way to view it, is like, what is the hook? How have we got them in? Next SaaS product that I want to show you is one called Cal, which I just really like that name, right? It's a calendar, which obviously makes sense. Now, what they've done from here is they've gone with a very black and white overall feel, which is nice. It also means that when they do add a pop of color, like these reviews down here, it immediately builds credibility. And this goes back again to what I was saying in this theory point of view, is we need to very quickly, within that first 5 seconds, get across exactly what we do, who we do it for, and build some credibility. So scheduling infrastructure for everyone, with a nice little, if that title sounds interesting, Meet Cal, the event juggling scheduler for everyone, focusing on meetings, not making meetings, free for individuals. So that's really good. We've also got a nice visual representation with a little bit of personality added in with Rick Astley to then say these are the options that we have. And then you'll see again just below that a list of credibility building. So product of the day, product of the week, product of the month. On Product Hunt, it's got 5 stars. On Google, it's got 5 stars. On G2, it's got 4.5 stars. So we're immediately building this credibility. And even more credibility is then being built up by these individual logos of the companies who are already trusting them. So you'll see straight away here, if we go through this kind of tick list of what I mentioned is it really clear what we do? Is it really clear who we do it for? Now, there's probably a slight argument that everyone is a little bit too open in all honesty, but we're going to let them on. And then thirdly, are we building that credibility? Are we creating trust? So you'll see just from a basic tick list of this top of the page, or what I would call the fold, is we've got a tick, tick, tick as we go through. It's a really, really nice way of doing it. Now, as we scroll down, there's more information to then discuss it. These are going to be more like objections. So like, okay, well, does it link with my other calendars? What if I need to set availability that, I'm not free? How easy is it to share around? How easy is it for other people to book on? These are going to be almost internal monologues and concerns or objections, as we would call them, about signing up in the first place. And I'm even giving an example of what that URL could look like. So it could be cal.com/Rick, which is a really nice way of doing it. I love the fact that they run with this Rick Astley kind of joke all the way through as well. They're then also referencing anything we might need to know about overall scheduling. So they're referencing these tailored links, they're referencing this. I love the fact that they've got some workflow automation built into it. The site feels really clean, really easy to digest, and fairly uncluttered, which is nice. Even though you've got these animations that is happening, it doesn't feel too busy. And even simple things like having these numbers on here to say which order we should read them is a really nice way of doing it. So that's everything I want to run through on those. I think just these 2 examples is really enough to give you an understanding, combined with the theory at the start of this video, about there's probably a couple of things if you now look at your own SaaS website and go, yeah, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing that. And if we can't get these basics right, there's no point going more advanced. Now, I'm aware I've gone basics to start with, but please have a look through, re-watch the video, and be really honest. Look at your current site and go, what are we doing wrong? What could be better? And that's it. If you like what I've had to say, please like, please subscribe, please tell me what you think about this in the comments, and we'll speak soon. Bye.